Newport-Fersan in the field. Real issues, real solutions is brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.
All right, so it's now time for First and in the Field Real Issues, Real Solutions. This morning, our focus is on the Manni-plex Liquid Fertilizer, which is noted as a preventer and eliminator of nutrient deficiencies and plant stress. Joining us this morning, Branatic Neufville, Agronomist. Branatic, good morning and welcome to Farm Talk, or should I say welcome back, albeit you're joining us in a different capacity. But I welcome the opportunity to speak with you once again. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Aki, and good morning to everyone. I'm doing very well, thank God for the pleasure of being back here again.
Good to have you with us. We're also joined by Deveen Henry, who is technical sales consultant. Deveen, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Halti. I'm doing fine. Thanks for having us. I'm doing fine. I'm doing definitely fine. How are you doing?
I am great. I'm great. Good to have you both on and good to get in some conversation about this Manni-plex liquid fertilizer and what it is that it can do. Branatic, let me start with you. What exactly is the Manni-plex technology?
All right, Ms. Altia. Let me first start by saying this. Foliar feeding is one of the most efficient ways to supply nutrition to crops during the critical growth stages, right? Now, applying nutrition to plant leaves, it allows the plant to immediately absorb the nutrients, which promote better plant uptake, better overall plant health, and increase yield potential. Now, not all liquid products are suitable for foliar application. And being a liquid product does not necessarily ensure entry into the plant leaf, right? Now, the Manni-plex line of fertilizer is a foliar fertilizer, which represents a significant advancement in plant nutrition, whereas it utilizes the sugar alcohol formulation to enhance nutrient absorption, translocation, and utilization. Now, Ms. Althea, unlike conventional foliar fertilizer, the Manni-plex product, they leverage the sugar alcohol, as mentioned, as a nutrient carrier. And what this does is that it results in superior penetration, mobility, and superior efficiency, right? Now, this innovative approach, right, it ensures that the nutrients, they are delivered precisely where they are needed the most. And as a result, this leads now to improve plant health, enhance yield, and greater resistance to environmental stresses. But not only that, the Manni-plex line out here, it also integrates surfactant and humectant properties. Now, as I mentioned, it utilizes the sugar alcohol formulation, and the unique role of sugar alcohol in its nutrient delivery offers several benefits. You're talking about bidirectional movement, whereas the Manni-plex nutrients, they move both acropetally and basipetally. In other words, they get in both upward and downward movement in the plant, and this ensures even distribution and prevents localized deficiencies. Alongside that, what you are also getting from the Manni-plex technology is a sustained nutrient supply. Now, the prolonged presence of sugar alcohol complexes in the plant system, it reduces nutrient leaching, right? And this ensures a steady and a sustained nutrient availability over time. Now, Mr. Althea, this is particularly beneficial in crops that tend to experience fluctuations in nutrient demand, such as the fruiting and the tuberous crop. But separate apart from that, as I mentioned before, right? The Manni-plex line, it consists of surfactant properties, right? And This ensures even nutrient distribution across the leaf surface. As a result, you're getting that reduction in runoff and that increase in terms of absorption. But not only that, what you are also getting again from the Manni-plex line culture is a reduced evaporation loss. And this is due to the humectant effect that I mentioned earlier. And what this does is that it allows slow drying of the nutrient solution on the leaf surface. And this then allows for an extended absorption time and maximize efficiency. And this is particularly beneficial in, for instance, dry and windy conditions where you tend to have that rapid evaporation which limits nutrient uptake. So, Mr. Alvia, once the Manni-plex technology or the nutrients are inside the plant, right, they move quickly and freely through the phloem to plant growth areas. And what this allows is that it allows the plant now to fully utilize the applied nutrients, which result in improved plant health and crop production quality, right? So, to summarize this out here, when you talk about the Manni-plex line or the Manni-plex technology, you are talking about a more efficient form of nutrients. You are talking about greater mobility. You are talking about a much more readily and immediately available form of nutrients. And ultimately, you are talking about a proprietary formulation that coats leaves that adhere to leaf surfaces, making it available longer to the plant, right? Now, our Manni-plex line, it consists of namely 10 products. You have the Manni-plex plant starch, vegetables, calcium, manganese, zinc, zinc, potassium, manganese, boron, and iron. So, whether you are tackling a root development, fruit quality, or micronutrient deficiencies, whatever it may be, there is a Manni-plex product for you. However, for this morning, we'll be focusing on 4 of these Manni-plex products as they address some of the most prevalent issues across the zone.
Right, so and we'll hear about those 4 a little bit later on. But of course, the other side of what we're taking a look at, having spoken about the importance of Manni-plex and the technology and how it is that it addresses the issues foliarly that the plants might have, we have to take a look at plant stress and what causes it, because there's so much taking place now. I have a feeling that much of what we're seeing is as a result of climate change, because of course there is so much unpredictability in what is going on there. So Branatic, take us to the break with an explanation as to what causes plant stress and of course nutrient deficiencies, because that is also a major concern. And then when we come back from the break, we will take a look at the products in the line that we're focusing on this morning. So I want you to make the best use that you can of these 4 minutes that you have ahead of the break.
All right. So, when you talk about plant stress, you are talking about any external factor that can negatively impact the plant growth, development, and yield potential, right? Now, just as how humans experience stress from extreme temperature, poor nutrition, or illness, the plant also suffers from various stressors that weaken their ability to thrive. Now, the cause of plant stress can be categorized into 3 main categories, namely abiotic stressors, your biotic stressors, and your mesobiotic stressors, right? And for your abiotic stressors, you're talking about your non-living environmental factors, like your drought, your excessive heat, your salinity, right, etc. When you talk about your biotic stressors, you are talking about living organisms now, such as your pests, your diseases, and your weeds, right? As it relates to mesobiotic, you're talking about those that are on the gray line between living and non-living, such as their viruses, right? And in summary, where plant stress is concerned, the categories, they highlight the diverse range of factors that can impact the well-being of the plant, right? Now, with regards now to the nutrient deficiency, you talk nutrient deficiencies what can be referred to as the inadequate supply of essential nutrients, such as their macro and micronutrients, which, as we know, are crucial for optimal plant growth and development. Now, there are two main causes of a nutrient deficiency. You have your natural nutrient deficiency and you have your induced nutrient deficiency, right? Now, the natural nutrient deficiency, this occurs when the soil itself lacks essential nutrients due to factors such as leaching from heavy rainfall and your soil type. For instance, sandy soils they tend to have low nutrient retention, making it difficult for plants to access elements like your potassium and your calcium, right? Now, your leaching, which due to heavy rainfall, can also be a contributing factor. We have regions of high rainfall, right? The water tends to percolate through the soil and carrying away mobile nutrients like your nitrogen, right? And this is especially problematic in like your light textured soil where the nutrients are not retained, right? Where induced nutrient deficiency is concerned, now this happens when the nutrients are present in the soil but become unavailable to the plant due to nutrient antagonism, right? And this imbalance now can lead to severe nutrient deficiencies when even when the soil contains ample nutrients, right? For a common example is the potassium, the calcium antagonism, where you have soils with excessive potassium levels compete with calcium for uptake by the plant roots, and this therefore leads to a calcium deficiency. So when you talk about induced nutrient deficiency, you're talking about it from the standpoint of nutrient antagonism, which occurs when the excess of one nutrient inhibits the uptake of another and thus inducing nutrient deficiency.
We're on the break, Branatic, so I have to take it. Let me just clear commercials and come right back. You can round out your thoughts on that when we come back, and then we're moving into the products of focus for the morning, but we'll also have participation from a farmer as well, Charlene Smith. So let's take the break. Farm Talk continues now, and we're inside the feature Firsthand in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions. Our guests this morning, Branatic Neufville and Deveen Henry, and we're taking a look at the Manni-plex Liquid Fertilizer, preventer and eliminator of nutrient deficiencies and plant stress. And before we took the break, Branatic was focusing on the deficiencies, and I believe, Branatic, you're going to do a summary of that, and then we can move quickly then to discuss the products of focus in the line.
Okay, all right. So what I wanted to add was that it is imperative for us to understand the difference between natural and induced nutrient deficiency, as it is essential for effective crop nutrition management, whereas it makes one become cognizant of the approach to take when addressing these issues.
Right. Thank you so very much for that. And of course, you mentioned that although there are 10 products in the line, our focus this morning is only on 4 of them. So you start with the first one, which is the Manni-plex Start, and then we'll go to Deveen.
Okay. So the Manni-plex Plant Start, it is a concentrated liquid plant food, right? That enhances the plant growth and development through multiple stages of the crop cycle. Now, while its name suggests early establishment, because, when farmers hear the name plant start, the first that comes to mind is the starting stage, right? So, while its name suggests early establishment, its formulation supports various key physiological processes that ensure the crops reach their full potential. Now, therefore, the plant start is more than just a early growth product. The name plant start does not mean it's only beneficial at the beginning of the crop life cycle. Instead, it signifies its role in initiating critical growth processes at different stages, such as the start of root development, where you're getting an enhancement in your early anchorage and nutrient absorption. Also, the start of vegetative growth, where you're getting a fueling of the cell division and leaf expansion, as well as the start of flowering and fruit set, where you're getting that energy transfer and that reproductive success. So the Manni-plex plant start is really a catalyst for key growth processes throughout the crop cycle, and it is more than just a product for early growth. Composition contains 8% nitrogen for, as I mentioned, that shoot development. We have that 27% phosphorus, which is essential for ATP formation. We talk about ATP formation. We're talking about that energy-rich currency in the plant, as well as the phosphorus is also aiding in root meristematic activities, right? It also contains 2% potassium, which regulates stomatal functions and enzymatic activities. And added to that is the seaweed extract. And this aids in the production, Mr. Althea, of the natural plant growth regulators, including your cytokines and your auxins, which accelerate root elongation, shoot growth, and mitigate plant stress.
All right. And before we get to Deveen, let me bring Charlon Smith on because he is our farmer. And then I also have a question that was sent in about plant deficiencies. So let me just bring in Charlon Smith. And Charlon is a farmer out of St. Thomas. Mr. Smith, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Miss Mackenzie, how are you doing?
I am great. Good to have you on with us and good to share your story. Let me first of all find out what you grow over there in St. Thomas, your crops of choice.
All right. First off, thanks for having me. And my crops of choice are Scotch bonnet peppers and cabbage.
Well, that is a smart choice. I can well imagine putting some Scotch bonnet pepper in my cabbage when I'm steaming it. So what got you into cabbage and hot peppers?
All right. So why I got into those two crops, besides supply and demand, overall I always felt that, all right, these two crops, these are ideal Jamaican crops. So it makes sense. Might as well grow it.
Well, and of course, there is high demand for Scotch bonnet pepper, and we can never get enough cabbage because whether we're steaming it or where we are using it in our salads, we know that we do consume quite a bit of it. All right, so I hear that you applied Manni-plex plant start to your crop. Tell us what differences have you noticed, and will you continue to use it?
All right. So first off, I started using Manni-plex just a few months ago because I heard about it from a few of my fellow farmers in the district because I have my farm in Seaport district. I know in St. Thomas farmers always hear things here and there from Fersan Agronomist, like Mr. Neufville and others. So I'm saying, oh, you know what? Let me try this out. So when I started using it a few days ago and a few months ago, to be exact, like September last year, noticed that the plants had stronger, greener leaves and more vigorous growth. And I also noticed that the roots developed much better from their seedling stage compared to untreated plants that I usually have. And they also showed better growth in the earlier stages.
Right. So you noticed almost immediately that things were different about your plants. What kind of stress would you say your plants undergo where it is that you are there in Seaford, St. Thomas?
All right. So types of stress my plants normally undergo would be towards a bit of water stress because the soil type that I have there, melancholic clay, it absorbs water and water retains, but because of the open field area, dry out the soil. So the Manni-plex help to keep back some of the nutrients so it doesn't go away as fast or leach away as fast. So upon using the Manni-plex, I noticed that there's a seaweed extract formula, which after looking at it, I said, I'm going to do a little research about it, and I noticed that because of it, it helped to improve the transplant shock, where it doesn't affect the plants as much. So when normally they transplant plants from the nursery, it always have a bit of a shock. Because of the Manni-plex plant start, the shock is reduced and the plants become a bit more sturdier during their growth stage.
Well, which is really good. And of course, I would imagine that this is one that you're recommending to other farmers, just as how you receive the good news and you started to use it, you're also giving good news to others.
Yes, indeed. I would highly recommend to other farmers.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much,
And
Miss
take
Mackenzie, for
care.
having me. You as well.
Look forward to more conversation with you in the future. Charlene Smith there. Deveen, let me bring you in, and you are going to walk us through very as quickly as you can the Manni-plex vegetables, calcium, and manganese, and then Branatic, I'm coming back to you with a question that was sent in.
Okay, so morning again out here. Thanks for having us. All right, so as my colleague spoke about the effectiveness and potency of the Manni-plex plant stock, I would like to explore additional products focusing on the Manni-plex veg, the Manni-plex calcium, and the Manni-plex manganese. So when you speak about the Manni-plex veg, we are now in a scientifically formulated liquid foliar fertilizer. So, Ms. Altia, farmers and listeners, this product is designed to develop essential micronutrients in a highly efficient and readily available form. So we ain't talking about a product that's going to cause the plant to exert a great amount of energy to acquire these nutrients. This product is specifically developed to meet the required nutrients demands of crops, ensuring optimal growth, development, and yield. So farmers, I want you to understand by integrating the Manni-plex veg into a well-balanced fertilizer program, farmers can optimize their crop production, ensuring stronger, healthier plants that produce higher yields with superior market quality. And as you know, we as Jamaicans, we purchase, are also farmers, our consumers, we purchase with our eyes. So you have to make sure that when you touch the market, then definitely put something that you can see and also of good quality. So the next product that I'll be focusing on is the calcium, Manni-plex calcium. So just to dive into our next product, I'll focus on Manni-plex calcium. So the Manni-plex calcium is a highly efficient liquid foliar fertilizer. This are designed to address stress of calcium deficiency and improve plant structure, food quality, and post-harvest longevity. And when we talk about our post-harvest longevity, we're referring to basically quote-unquote or shelf life of the crops. So this innovative formulation ensures that calcium moves efficiently through the plant, reaching growing points where it is needed through the root, and also taking time through the root and the shoot, and we're talking about seeds and fruit. And I want our farmers to understand that calcium is an essential nutrient that plays a crucial role in every single stage of the plant development. So we're not talking about just a one stage or a two stage of the plant life. We're talking about all the cycle of the plant life. It requires calcium. So dive into the Manni-plex manganese. So the Manni-plex manganese is a highly efficient foliar fertilizer. So design and correct manganese deficiency in crops. And when I talk about the manganese, I want my farmers to understand this. That unlike any other manganese formulation, and I want you to pay attention to this, unlike any other, and I emphasize and stress on this, unlike any other manganese formulation, which can quickly oxidize and become unavailable, the Manni-plex keeps the manganese in a plant-friendly form for longer uptake efficiency. So make sure that all of these nutrients are easily accessed to the plant. So it's nothing they're going to exert a great amount of energy to access the plant, for the plant to access it. It's readily available as you put it on because of the byproduct sugar alcohol, it accesses it.
Right. So that is really very exciting, and I know that you took the time to listen, emphasize it. This is why this stands out. This is another unique feature in this line.
Yes, most definitely. Sometimes farmers don't really pay attention, especially to or micronutrients, in particular manganese. And for example, if you're doing pineapples, then we mostly focus on manganese because pineapples is prone to manganese deficiency. But I won't go into that yet. I will just let us narrow in a little bit, and then further in our explanation, then we'll get a little bit more in depth in our manganese deficiency.
All right, so I'm giving you some more time on the other side of the break. But before we take that break, Branatic, the question that I got that I wanted to answer is, how do you go about ensuring your soil pH is not a factor in terms of nutrient deficiencies? So this is a question that has come in on WhatsApp.
Okay, Ms. Arthur. Now, the key to preventing nutrient deficiency caused by the soil is through monitoring the soil pH and having the proper amendment. Now, first, First is to conduct a soil test to determine whether the soil is too acidic or too alkaline. In fact, I want to add that we here at Newport-Fersan, the technical team, we are equipped with our soil pH that we travel with to readily test the soil pH to determine its acidity or its alkalinity. Now, this is important because extreme pH levels can limit nutrient availability, right? Now, when the soil pH is too acidic, whereas it's too low, the essential nutrients like your phosphorus and your calcium, they become less available, right, to the plant. On the other hand, when the soil is too alkaline, as you normally call it high pH, micronutrients such as the zinc, manganese, boron, etc., becomes less available to the plant. Now, at Newport-Fersan, we have soil ameliorants designed to correct pH imbalances, right? The soil pH is too acidic.
I think we've lost Branatic there. All right, so let us just clear commercials and come back, and then we'll have him back with us after the break. All right, so we're rounding out conversation this morning with the team from Newport-Fersan. We have with us Branatic Neufville and Deveen Henry. And listen, let me tell you something, gentlemen. I have just sent a message to Melvin that we're going to have to do a part 2 of this because the questions are rolling in. And we definitely are not going to have enough time to cover all the ground that you want to cover this morning. So my suggestion is that we do a part 2 of this, and I'm going to yield it to our listeners who want these questions answered. I know you had other things that you want to share, but I'm taking an executive decision that we're to answer the questions from the listeners. All right, so this one says, I noticed that a lot of my hot pepper plants are having yellowing of the leaves at the extreme top, with some even looking white. What could this be? And is there a Manni-plex product that could address this? Deveen, you want to take that one?
Yes, Althea, no problem. All right, so if you're having yellowing of the leaves, you said you're having yellowing of the leaves, right? Let me make sure that
right. At the extreme top, I would imagine that is at the tip.
All right, so if you have, so basically, along with white, that could be a deficiency of nitrogen. So okay. What you could basically take in consideration is a product of choice, as I mentioned, is the Manni-plex veg. So the Manni-plex veg is basically a composition of nitrogen. Then they basically focus on also the translocation of giving the product that boost of nitrogen because it's a foliar application. So because it has a foliar application, then it basically the plant access it at a quicker and also at a faster rate. So if you're having that problem, then definitely the Manni-plex of vegetable is a good recommendation.
All right. Thank you so very much for that, Branatic. Coming back to you, because I know that you spoke about it, you touched on it earlier on, but Richard is asking for you to define plant stress. Branatic?
It seems Mr. Branatic.
Oh, it seems as if we have lost him and not getting him back. All right, we're going to continue to try. But can you tackle that for us then, Deveen?
Absolutely, no problem. All right, so as my colleague was stating earlier about plant stress, is that this refers to any external factors that negatively impact the plant growth and developing a heat potential. So like as my colleague stated earlier, like humans. So if a plant is going through a growth stage, then basically it goes through stress. If a plant is basically putting on flower, it goes through stress. If a plant is basically even fruiting, it goes through stress. So anything that negatively impacts the plant, that is basically a plant stress. If a plant is even basically taking up water, it goes through stress. That is why my colleague making mention that once you have the plant start, it's not only for start, it basically also help the plants to go through a phase of stress. So you can start the plant and also carry through the entire cycle because the plant go through stress, even just basically taking up nutrients.
All right. You want to add anything, Branatic? He's back with us.
Okay.
To
I
that
got cut
issue
off.
of stress.
Repeat that.
I was asking if you wanted to add anything to that in terms of the stress, because what the listener was asking for is a definition for stress, and I know you had mentioned it before, but we just want to make sure that we cover everything.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So like as I mentioned before, where the stress is concerned. So one thing with the Manni-plex line, right? And one of the stress that we mentioned that the plant undergo is in terms of is nutrient stress, right? Now the Manni-plex line, as we mentioned before, it provides all that nutrient, right, supply to the plant to relieve the plant of any nutrient stress.
Which is really very important. Anything at all that will cause the plant to come under stress, including issues such as whether it's too hot or it's too cold. You have abiotic factors, environmental factors like your water, light, and temperature. Then you have biotic factors such as organism, pathogens, pests, and viruses. You have nutrient imbalances such as your lack or excess of nutrients, which you have all focused on this morning and is really very important. And so we'll encounter things like wilting, stunting, yellow or browning of the leaves, changes in the plant color, anything like that would be an indication of what is going on with stress. All right, so Deveen, there's a question here that is directed at you. I want to know at what stage you should put on the Manni-plex veg.
All right, so the Manni-plex veg, as I mentioned earlier, the composition of the Manni-plex veg is nitrogen, boron, iron, zinc, magnesium. All right, so these nutrients target, for example, the nitrogen. The composition of the nitrogen and we focus on leafy growth. So the Manni-plex veg is focusing on leafy growth along with the composition of the boron. That basically help also with fertility of our fruit formulation. So that basically can help you in a growing stage and also the fruiting stage of a plant. So if you're focusing on structure and also leaf, your green leaf, then you can use it at that stage. And also if you're focusing on fruiting, then you can use it at that stage. So you can use it on any cycle of the plant.
All right, certainly sounds good. I want to come back to you, Branatic. I'm just giving you 30 seconds because this whole issue of the early growth is crucial, I know, for the foundation of the plant. So just remind us how the Manni-plex start can help to prevent those early nutrient deficiencies and reduce plant stress. And that's the final thing I'm going to be able to cover with you, gentlemen, for this morning.
All right. So one of the key ways in which the Manni-plex, the plants it helps to with early growth and provide the nutrients, right, is that the Manni-plex plant starter, as I mentioned before, it contains it has a high phosphorus content, right? And it also contains the seaweed extract, which stimulates the natural growth hormones such as the auxins and cytokines, which promote that elongation, promote that cell division. You're getting that overall plant vigor, right? And you're getting that reduction in terms of reduction in plant stress. Now, in addition to what my colleague was mentioning about the yellowing, right? We have the Manni-plex iron, even though it's not a product of focus right now, which helps to alleviate problems like the yellowing in the extreme top of our crop, right? So like some farmers who plant like pepper and tomato, they notice sometimes in there's a yellow in the extreme top, and sometimes you have that pale whitish color, right? That right there can be that right there is a classic case of iron deficiency, and it can it's also due to factors such as the soil pH or your low iron availability, and the Manni-plex iron is the excellent recommendation to tackle such issues. But still, regarding the Manni-plex plant start, what you are getting that overall reduction in plant stress, and you are getting that it's also setting the stage for early growth and early development and setting up the plant for optimum yield and productivity.
Which are very important. I have to leave it there, entirely out of time, but thank you both for this morning. Like I said, I think we need to do a part 2 of this. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, gentlemen. Well done.
Thank you.
Branatic Neufville, agronomist, and Deveen Henry, technical sales consultant. A quick word and then we're wrapping the show.
Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions was brought to you by Newport-Fersan Jamaica Limited, the first on the land.